This is MV again. So, yeah, it got to the end of the match and it just collapsed, but luckily it did save it. So here's the score, I just checked it. England win the World Cup 1966 with goals from, in fact, North Korea went ahead with Park scoring in the 7th minute, but England's power just took over then. It looked a lot easier than it actually was, but we saw Hurst with 2 goals, Roger Hunt with an acrobatic goal, and Peters with that run down the left to score the third. That was the clincher. That was quite memorable. And then obviously Hurst towards the end. Very similar to what happened in the World Cup itself, the real one. Really good in tournament. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed playing with England. Seeing how strong Portugal were. Seeing how dangerous North Korea were. But England win the World Cup. Really, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. I've always wanted to play as England. I didn't play as England in this tournament until obviously the final. I think I played the quarterfinal. Highlights of the tournament: Mexico scored 5 goals or more. Sorry, lost to Uruguay 5-1, and Portugal West Germany was a big game. Player stats: goals of the tournament: Eusebio scored 10 goals for Portugal. Bobby Charlton scored 8. Beckenbauer for Germany 6. Marcos for Chile. I've never heard of this guy. Ruben Marcos, that's a name I've never heard of before. Scored 6. Jeff Hurst, there's Pack. Du Ikpak, look him up. He scored Borja from Mexico, I've heard of him. D. Lee. Okay, another North Korean. Really, really interesting to see, some really good big stars like Siggy Hell for West Germany. I think he played for Dortmund. That's Martin Peters, as we know. My mother met him once, told me, so she says. I didn't dare ask under what circumstances. There we go, Group A, B, C, and D. And England won their group. As you can see, Uruguay came through their group. France was disappointing. But here's the results. I do enjoy this. Italy were knocked out as they were in real life. The big shock was the Soviet Union, because they had a team that in real life I think went to the semi-finals. And there's some good players too, like Shostanev is a defender, really good defender. Voronin is a good Kotislava. Igor Chislenko, he's got a 90, as you can see. Scores goals. These are 2 players I know of. Porkujan is another one. So they had a good team in real life, but didn't work for them. I think did they have Lev Yashin in goal? They did. Probably the most famous goalkeeper of all time. Oh, these days people remember people like Buffon and Manuel Neuer, but even in FIFA, I think Lev Yashin has been made. Lev Yashin was for many, many years considered the greatest goalkeeper of all time. Here's my team, my sorry-ass Brazil. Had fun with the game, though. We blew it in the first game. That game there, we should have won and romped away with it. But we didn't. And Gigi Asparakov scored. It was really good to see these players, like I said. Players I've read about since I was about 10 years old. And to see them come to life on screen. Even though I've seen them in other games like FIFA or PES. And we used to create the players in PES. But to see them properly made, so to speak, on a proper simulation game is quite fun. I always wonder if Football Manager didn't do more of this themselves. People do it. They use the Football Manager engine and mod it, and that's fair enough. But this has given me a lot of fun over a few months. I've taken a bit of a sabbatical and done this. Not as religious as I've liked. I would have liked to play with Argentina a bit more. I think they have some greats in their team, or good players that I know of. I knew of Performo, Rafael Albrecht. Silvio Marzolini was one of the best left backs of all time. Tell by his 90 rating there, and he's 5-5. Louis Artim, goal scorer. Jorge Solari, he's the father of Solari that used to play for Real Madrid. There's Antonio Ratin, just an outstanding captain for Argentina. I think he played for Boca Juniors, as did Silvio Mazzolini. Very controversial in '66. He wouldn't leave the field. Told the referee he didn't know what he was doing. One of the big stories of '66 was Ratin. Doesn't seem like there were other squad players, but I know this was their team. I keep forgetting it's not all the squad players are showing up because in those days they didn't have subs, to my surprise. Other teams that caught my eye, obviously West Germany, Hungary, definitely. I felt like this was the most exciting group, my group. We drew with Hungary and Bulgaria, and we had no chance against Portugal because Pele had just come back from an injury. So, anyway, good fun, real good fun. Just on the second stream, just to wrap it all up. Don't know what all of this means. Team offense. Most offensive team: England, Portugal, West Germany, North Korea. I've had a real rough weekend, you know. I had some mulled wine. Ugh, my tongue is sore. My knees are aching. I had to walk up a hill. And good exercise, good fun. But I felt rough as a badger's arse. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, so that's that. I'm going to leave that as it is, and we're going to concentrate next on another season, another project. There's plenty here, as you can see, World Cups. The 66 one was always one I wanted to play. We've got 62, go back in time. Or to one of the best tournaments of all time, 1970. Or we could probably do some stuff here with some European Championships. The Euros, although there's not all the Euros, in fact there's far from them. There's loads missing he hasn't made. He's probably making the most recent one, 2024. And then you got all these European ones which are amazing. These are, can't wait to get my teeth stuck into them. There's so many teams. You know, these great Barcelona teams of the, you know, the one with Xavi, Messi, David Villa. People understand these teams a bit more because they're more recent. Busquets. I think my good friend Jeff is playing with Miami at the moment in Football Manager, so Busquets is there. But this team, just looking at this team, and you can recognise loads of players because they've been on TV so many times. Maxwell, I remember him. Adriano, not sure which one that is. I do remember Maxwell, good left back for Brazil. Mascherano. This team here was pretty good. They won, it looks like they won the La Liga. And they won the Champions League, 2010-11. Is this the one where they beat Manchester United and the Man United guys just said, you know what, there's no point turning up for this one. They were so good. They were a power rating of 103. Let's just see. There's the Man United 10-1 as well. Let's have a look. This team is also legendary in England. Let's have a look. They won the Premier League that season. They were beaten in the Champions League by Barcelona. Edward van der Sar. There's Uncle Patrice Evra. Look at Vidic, 94, hold the ball. 5-5. Rio was getting a bit more older than Rio Ferdinand. John O'Shea. What an excellent... Man United are such a mixture of stars and players from the academy. John O'Shea, I think, came up from the academy. Nani, Portuguese right winger, like Ronaldo Light. Michael Carrick, excellent legendary player. Again, came up in the mid-2000s. Scholes from the 90s. These Scholes Fletcher came from the youth team. Like a bits and pieces type of player with a high work rate. There it is. Yeah, Scholesy. Where's Giggsy? Ryan Giggs is getting more injured by this point. Excellent left winger. Michael Owen had gone... Oh, Michael Owen. He'd become injury prone by this point. So many players. I remember any Man United fan. Johnny Evans is still playing for Man United. He left for 10 years and came back for the last couple of years, won a couple of trophies. This is a legend. He should have stayed. These two, Smalling and Evans, if they didn't get rid of them, then Man United wouldn't have been as bad as they became. It's bad. It's still relative to Man United. Berbatov, excellent player. Rooney. But you take that team there and you play it against the Barca team of the same year. You can see the difference is unbelievable. So there's so many teams to play. This Bayern team was pretty good too. Some of these guys are still playing, one or two of them. Manuel Neuer is still playing. Alaba is still playing. Dante, I think, still playing. Jerome Boateng was a really good player for Germany. Philipp Lahm, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Javi Martinez. I remember playing with these guys in FIFA. Thomas Muller's still playing. I loved the sound of that name. Holger Badstuber. Shaqiri, I think, still around. So it's still, this brings back memories of, when I was following football. I probably stopped following it not long after this, and then started to follow it again a bit later. Now on a Sunday, I barely watch it. It's really strange. I just watch, probably because of YouTube. YouTube's on, you just tend to watch the highlights, and I watch all the chat shows and stuff. Dortmund, lovely colours, lovely logo. I remember this team, the two left back, the Schmelzer and Piszczek. This is a good young team. This is let's see now, Jurgen Klopp's team, who was pretty good around this time. Finalists, I think they'd won two Bundesligas around that time as well. I remember playing with FIFA this one because I remember having Schmelzer and Piszczek. I realised they had quite a lot of Poles in the team. Blaszczykowski, was good. Mario Götze, isn't he the guy that scored the World Cup winner? Kevin Grosicka, Robert Lewandowski, still playing. Marco Reus, still playing. Gundogan, still playing. Matt Hummels, still playing. So these guys were a good career. Nuri Sahin. Ivan Perisic. I didn't know Perisic played for Dortmund at that time. He wasn't as well known. There's their captain, Sebastian Kell. So this was a good team. Looking forward to messing around with those teams. Here's more legendary teams again. 89-90 Milan. This is the team that would won 2 back-to-back Champions Leagues. Paolo Maldini. Look at this, is just legendary. Maldini, Costacurta, Baresi, Tassotti, those 4 alone. Legendary. Then you got Carlo Ancelotti in midfield. Rijkaard, the Dutchman. That's Gullit. So Gullit didn't play much that season, must have been injured. Yes, he was. He played in the final though. Donadoni. I think the classic lineup is Galli, Maldini, Costacurta, Baresi, Tassotti, Ancelotti, Rijkaard, Donadoni, Van Basten, Gullit, and there would have been another one with blonde hair. Colombo, I think. Yeah, this is a great team. Great team. So many teams to get his teeth stuck into. I don't think there is a Napoli team, because I think most of the teams, the European teams here, are teams that are European champions. And Napoli, that Napoli with Maradona, was a UEFA champion, not a European champion. However, that said, the UEFA Cup in those days, in the late 80s, if it was now, they would have qualified for the Champions League. And they would have been just as good. They would have been good as anybody. The UEFA Cup in those days was just beginning to lose its luster because the Champions League was getting bigger and bigger. But in the 80s, so this is just one file. ECF3. Look how many teams. Look how many teams. Here's the Dream Team, the famous team. The Dream Team. I think this is Dream Team 1. 91-92. This is the one without Romario. Look at this team. Koeman. Michael Laudrup. Pep Guardiola. Bakero. Stoichkov. Tiki Bergeristan. Nadal played for Salinas. Played for Spain. These are excellent. Funny enough, it doesn't seem to have the same luster now. I think the team that got to the final a few years later, Barcelona '94, was even more star-studded but didn't win. This one won it. Who else is there? Liverpool. This is an 83-84 Liverpool. This is the one that beat Roma. Classic Liverpool team. Grobbelaar, always dropping the ball. Alan Kennedy always scoring in finals. The cool Alan Hansen, Lawrenson, Neil, Ronnie Whedon, tough Graham Souness. Got to see a picture of him here somewhere. Got to show a picture of Graham Souness. It's Sammy Lee, Craig Johnston, Kenny Dalglish, Rush, Steve Nicol, John Warp. Well, this is it's a good man. I never liked that team, but it's efficient. I used to hate them actually. Montero, Torricelli was a wild man, wasn't he? Didier Deschamps, Conte, Didier, hard-working team. Yeah, work rate. Alessandro Del Piero, Zinedine Zidane. Possibly one of my favourite players. At the time, I didn't really like him, funny enough. Never paid attention until I watched him in, World Cup 2004? No, 2006. He won the World Cup in 98. Didn't do well in 2002. But by the time that World Cup came around, he was a big veteran. And he was outstanding. And I began to appreciate, it was at the end of his career, really began to appreciate Zizou. Sometimes with some footballers, I don't believe the hype until I see them later on in their career. It's like Pirlo. Everyone always talk about Pirlo. But when I start to see Pirlo towards the end of his career, you start to realise this guy's bossing games. Same with Paul Scholes. Knew Scholes was a good player. Didn't realise how good until the second half of his career. Anyway, that's it from me. I've been reminiscing and doing a bit of nostalgia with the 66 World Cup. Hope you enjoyed it. The sudden end to the previous broadcast was because the game crashed. But luckily it kept all the stats, so I was very happy with that. Right, so I'll bring that project to an end.